So the talk today is best practices for integrating Google Wallet to your app. My name is Edson Yanaga. I'm a developer relations engineer at Google. I'm responsible for wallets. I'm also a Java champion and a former 7 times Microsoft MVP. One thing that I did when I joined Google this year, I learned that Googlers can't be Microsoft MVP, so unfortunately I didn't get my award renewed. And a fun fact about me is that I'm a Japanese Brazilian that's now living in the US and who traveled to London for droidcon. Okay? So very glad to be here for the first time delivering a presentation to this amazing audience. So what is Google Wallet? Well, we are droidcon. I think it doesn't matter much if I make a question like who has an Android phone? Okay. In other audiences it would be weird, but well, here it's even weirder. And I'd like to say that Google Wallet, you also might be wondering, well, we're talking about Google Wallet. Before you had this Google Pay thing and also GPay. That's a very common question that has different answers depending on where you are. So I also don't know the exact answer. I'll be able to tell you what is Google Wallet. And if you're thinking about, well, this is confusing. Yeah, sometimes Google does a bit of that. And well, it's ambiguous and it's not on purpose, sorry. So Google Wallet allows you to transform all of your daily things that you have in your physical wallets in digital stuff. And if you add your credit cards to Google Wallet, you're also enabled to use Google Pay to pay for some other daily activities like going to a restaurant, or even like I tried this week, like tapping in the underground metro. You can tap with your wallet and it works. So I was trying that not only as a developer advocate, but as a user as well. But I think the best way for me to explain to you as a consumer what is Google Wallet and what it enables you to do is to show you this very short video about Google Wallet.
This is a wallet, and this is Google Wallet. They both keep hold of your credit cards. Loyalty cards, gift cards, boarding passes, transit passes, vaccine cards, concert tickets, ID cards. Car keys? Well, yeah, I guess you could put those in a regular wallet. Might hurt to sit down, but... Oh, look at that. Google Wallet lets you virtually access your car keys. Is a regular wallet secure? Kinda. Not really. Maybe a chain wallet? Google Wallet, though, super secure. It gives you all the security features of your Android phone. Plus, it lets you control your data and encrypts all your purchases. Speaking of purchases, once you add your card, you can tap to pay everywhere Google Pay is accepted. You can also choose to connect Google Wallet to other Google apps, making them even more helpful. So it'll know when to send you event notifications, flight updates, and let you see your transit card balances. Okay, so maybe Google Wallet is different. In a good way. In many good ways.
Not coming soon anymore. Google Wallet is live in 39 countries and more are coming very soon. So this is Google Wallet from a consumer perspective. But I'm a developer. Well, we're here at droidcon, we're developers. So why should I care about Google Wallet? Well, everything that you can imagine from the consumer side, you as a developer, you can enable those features to your users. So if you want to add payments capabilities, if you want to add loyalty cards, suppose that you work for a hotel chain or you work for a restaurant or you work for a cinema, you can add loyalty cards, you can create offers, you can create like vaccination cards, health insurance cards. And you can also create new use cases that were planned initially for Google Wallet, because we also have what we call a generic pass. With a generic pass, you don't have to fit in one of the predefined verticals that we have for Google Wallet, and you can create your own. So we're waiting for you. If developers are the new kingmakers, we are waiting for you to create this new use case that will amaze people everywhere. And just a quick pause for the picture. Thank you. I can't become prettier, but well, at least I'm not making weird faces while I'm talking. So some of the capabilities of Google Wallet, you can enable also NFC. If you want to provide some smart tap integration, you have a smart tap reader, you can integrate with Google Wallet providing that. Suppose that you want to use access as well. I like to provide some gym card access, or like I was talking to some developers before, like my company, I want to replace the badges with some smart tap integration, or even you can use that with barcodes or QR codes. Well, but doesn't it allow people to just like take a screenshot or take a picture of the barcode or QR code and copy the identity? Well, for that, we also have features that prevent that. We have rotating barcodes, we have rotating QR codes, we have live QR codes. So all of these features are embedded already in Google Wallet. You can set passes to expire. For example, you have an event. If you had the event tickets for droidcon as wallet passes, these passes would automatically appear in your home screen like 3 hours before the event. And after the event was finished, I think like 30 minutes or 1 hour later, the pass would be gone. It would be expired and won't be showing anymore in your home screen. So that's some of the features that you can have with Google Wallet. If you have like multiple boarding passes for the same family and you have all of them in your wallet, you can group them and you can like slide them to have access for you, for your wife, for your kids, all in the same phone, and much more. So, how can we do that as developers using the Google Wallet API? Yeah. So I did all of that, but I have to give you a disclaimer. Some of the current limitation is that we are only in 39 countries, but we already have here in the UK, we are available already on these countries on the list, but don't worry, like many more countries are coming very soon, and they will be available with Google Wallet. For you to be able to use Google Wallet in your Android device, you need to have access to Google Play services. So the Google Wallet SDK is going to check if you have access to this particular API. And you need the Google Wallet app installed in your device. So if you have a Pixel phone, I believe that most of you had it automatically downloaded when Google Wallet was launched a couple of weeks ago. But just in case you have like any other device that is not a Pixel phone, you might need to manually download the Google Wallet app. And if you didn't yet, I strongly recommend you to do so. So I want to create passes for Google Wallet. So let's get into the technical details of how can you as a developer create those passes. First, just like as we're working with Java or Kotlin, we have the notion of classes and objects. Well, classes and objects in the Google Wallet API are not exactly classes and objects like in object-oriented languages. It's a bit different. But instead of just trying to show some JSON or abstractions, I want to show a live demo of how it works. So if I move here to my browser, if I find the right icon, so if I go here, if I go to developers.google.com/wallet, you can see in the top of the screen, we have a lot of different verticals. And if I choose one of them, let's try, for example, event tickets. You'll be directed to the documentation. If you go here to the bottom left corner of the documentation, you see pass template. When you have a pass template, you can see here a live preview of what your pass will show when you use that, either on the web interface or in your Android phone. So if I decide to type here, well, issue name, we're in droidcon, and the event is going to be the London, and venue is going to be, oh, I forgot the name of the venue, Business Design Center. And we can even add a date, the day for today, October 28th. We can add a time. Some of this information is optional. I could provide like a logo image to be put here on the top. I can add a hero, so it's going to be like big here below the date. So all of these are some very interesting information that I can provide. Provide like barcode or QR code. I'm going to type some information, A, B, C, D, E. And here it is. I have my pass, so this is going to be like similar when I add this pass to my Android phone, or if somebody decides to add this particular pass through a web page, this is the way it's going to look on the web interface. But don't worry, because everything is added to your Google account. So if you decide to click on a button called Add to Google Wallet on a web page, when you click on that particular web page, that pass is going to be automatically transferred to your Android phone. And depending on the configuration, you can allow your users to use the same pass across their multiple devices. You can allow your user to use this particular pass only in one device, or you can allow your users to share this particular pass across multiple accounts and devices. So you as a developer, you're in control of how your users will be using your passes. And we have this pass template because sometimes it's hard to visualize how your pass is going to look in your device just by looking at this JSON. Because unfortunately, the way that we have to define your wallet passes is through this JSON configuration. But believe me, it could be worse. It could be YAML. I don't know how many of you are YAML fans, but it could be YAML. It could be worse. So here you have, or for the XML fans, I'm an XML fan. It could be XML. So here you have the event ticket class. So what is the distinction between classes and objects in the wallet API? Depending on the particular vertical that you're using. Classes are the stuff that is common to all the passes that you're going to issue. Okay? So for example, I'm creating passes for the attendees of droidcon. So some common information that is the same for everybody, like the name of the event, maybe the date, maybe the venue, but some particular information that is exclusive to each one of those attendees. The name of the pass holder, like the type of the ticket, the identification number, which is the information that is going to provide in the barcode or the QR code, or what else? The image that you can show in the pass. So this kind of information can be different depending on the user. So in the class, you can see here that the venue is going to be the same for everybody. The issuer name, the name of the event is going to be the same for everybody. The date as well. But for the ticket objects, then you're going to provide the information that is specific to each one of those users. Okay? And why we did why did we create the design this way? Well, because wallet passes can be updated dynamically. So suppose that, well, for a certain reason, we had bad weather for an outdoor event, and we decide to postpone that for the next week. If the wallet passes weren't dynamic, you would have to communicate to all of your attendees and say, well, we had to postpone the event for next week, and we're going to send you new passes. But because wallet passes can be updated dynamically, you just need to issue an API call saying, well, this is the updated information for my event. For my events class, and then automatically everybody that added that pass to their Google account, to their devices, will have the updated information. You receive a notification saying your pass was updated, and when you click on that or you open your pass, you have the new updated information there. So that's why we did that with classes and objects. First, to be able first, because we have the feature of updating dynamically, and second, because, well, if everybody's having the same updates, like the date changes, you don't want, you have like 2,000 attendees, you don't want to issue 2,000 calls to our API to update each one of those passes individually. You just update the class, and everybody got the same update. Okay, that's why we divided between classes and objects. And if you go through the documentation, you'll be able to see like the many different verticals that we have, and each one of them have a slightly different version of JSON, classes and JSON objects. Okay? Moving forward. Now, in Android, we have the Google Wallet Android SDK. If you want to use the Google Wallet SDK in your Android app, you need to add a dependency under GMS core, and the name of the dependency is com Google Android GMS Play Services Pay. You see? Consistency. We're talking about Google Wallet, but the name of the dependency is still Pay because, well, we love doing that. And for you to be able to issue passes, you just need an instance of calling pay.getClients. You pass the context. Of course, you're supposed to be using independent injection and store that as single. And pay client is the core class of the Google Wallet API, very complex API, okay? We have two methods. You have like save passes and you give the passes in JSON format to be saved. And we have save passes JOT, and you pass the JOT to be saved in your Android application. I'm going to explain the difference, why we have these two different versions, and which one do we recommend for most use cases. So the basic user experience when you're developing with the SDK is that you have your application, your user decides to do something, you have the Add to Google Wallet button, and when the user clicks that, you're redirected to the GPay app or to the Wallet app. Then the GPay app is going to issue a call to Google servers. It's going to retrieve the pass, and it's going to show to the user. And then if the user decides to just click on the Add button, it's going to be added to their Google Wallet. This is the most basic workflow that I can show here in my IDE as well. So we have the dangers of live demo. So what we have here, sorry, wrong class. If I go here to my activity, see a super complex activity. You're just initializing some variables and the code. You just got your Google Wallet Pay client. You add the button to the layout, and you're just checking here if the user is able to use Google Wallet because they have the SDK, the API, in their Android phone. And here is the very complicated stuff. You just create an instance of your JSON object, and you pass that to the wallet client. So pass in the activity, and this is a number just so that when it returns, you know that it's coming from Google Wallet. And if you want to take a look at the sample class, it's just a data class that we're using to store the JSON information. So the thing that might vary depending on like issuer email, issuer ID, and pass ID are the information that you need to create an account with the Google Wallet console to be able to issue those passes. But everything else is just like basic JSON that I generated on the template. I copy paste it and copy it there and paste it here in my code. Okay. So there's not much, and you might think, well, it's a lot of boilerplate code just to add to your pass. Well, we can improve that. I'm going to show something later that will help you to make it even easier for you to be issuing wallet passes in your Android application. Okay. So the basic workflow, saving passes using JSON. This is just a basic workflow that I explained before. Your application is going to show the user, well, you can add to Google Wallet. And you can see there in the bottom of the screen the Add to Google Wallet button. Then once you click, you're going to be redirected to the Wallet or GPay app, depending on the country that you are. And it's going to show the app. And if you decide to click on the green button in the bottom right corner of your screen, and your screen, then your pass is going to be added to Google Wallet. Okay? This is the basic workflow, and hopefully I'll be able to show that in my phone. So if we decide to run this application here, let's see, fingers crossed. I'm going to run. Oh, it's already running. So I have the sample application. I'm just showing a picture of the possible pass that I'm generating. I'm going to click on the Add to Google Wallet. I issue a call to the Google servers, and it's showing here on the screen. And the user can decide if they want to add to their Google Wallet. So if I click on Add it, and I can click here, oops, Viewing Wallet, it's already there. Okay, it's together with my other information. Here I have the details that you can provide also as in your JSON file. I have more information. I can go back here. It went back to my application. But if you go to your Google Wallet, you can see that it's stored together with your cards and with my other passes. So here I have like a droidcon, my droidcon pass. Here I also have my monorail ticket that I used this week in Zurich. I also have some other sample ones. I have some coffee vouchers that I used in another conference. So yes, you can do that, coffee vouchers, drink vouchers, redeemable ones included in your wallet API. And I also have some loyalty information, like my loyalty for Delta Airlines. So everything is added, and here I have my pass. Super simple, super streamlined for you as a developer to add these passes to your Android phone. What else? So let's move forward. So, well, I know the Android side looks fairly simple. How can I give the first steps to be issuing passes? Well, first, you need to create an issuer account. An issuer account is the way that you're going to tell Google that you're the person that's going to generate the passes. And initially, the easiest way, as of today, the easiest way is for you to go to our website, developers.google.com/wallet, and click on the button, create a temporary issuer account. Then you're just going to provide your email, because that particular email is the only one that you're going to be able to add passes to. Okay? If you try to issue a pass to another account, another Google account with another email, it will fail because you're not authorized to. But if you click that, it's instantaneous. So in the next 7 days, you'll be able to create an issue like developer and temporary passes. After the 7-day period expires, you can just go back and register and enroll your email again. You're going to be given this particular information, issuer ID and pass class ID. I strongly recommend you to copy this information because it will be hard for you to get it later. And because we're talking about examples, when you create a temporary issuer account, we already create a generic class for you. So generic classes can only be created through APIs. All the other verticals, you can go to the UI and create the classes by yourself. But generic class, you need to programmatically create through the API. So we already created one for you, and we also show you a sample object that you can issue your account. That's what I did in this particular example. Okay. Well, the next slide is just for later reference. I'm just mentioning the steps that I described, showing you the codes. So you need to create the pass in JSON. You're abstracting that in a data class. You're going to save the pass with this particular code. And you're going to handle the pass save result, which is, well, pretty simple Android code. It was successful. Well, everything went well. You're going to show the pass. This is the basic flow. You're creating the JSON in your Android app. You're sending that JSON to the Google servers. It's for your pass to be created on the backend API. And you're retrieving the pass that is ready, and adding that to your Google Wallet. But the recommended way, this is possible, but the recommended way that we have for you to be adding those particular passes to your Google Wallet account is by using JOT. And why should we be doing that instead of using JSON? Well, JOTs are generated on the server side. I know we're talking about Android developers, we're talking about client-side applications, but the best practice you can create on the client side, but the best practice here for Google Wallet is to generate them on the server side. And why is that? Because for you to be able to create the pass, you have to sign that. And when you're releasing your application, if a user might, for example, decompile your application and get access to the confidential information, the sensitive information that is required to sign your passes. So for you to prevent this kind of security issues, we recommend that the server-side application is generating the passes. So the server-side application has the certificate to be able to sign those JOT passes with the Google APIs. Okay. And another benefit of using that is that, well, whenever you release an Android application to your users, it's already legacy. So it's very likely that the users will never update that particular application. But then you decided as a business, well, now I have a new version of the pass that I want to provide to the users. But I have like thousands of people still using the old version of my application. If you're generating your passes on their server side, your users, doesn't matter which kind of the application version they're using, they will always have the latest pass version provided to their Google Wallets. Okay. So the suggested JOT workflow that you can have when you're using like server-side generation for your pass is that your user clicks to add to the Google Wallet button. Your app is going to post to your backend server, I want to create a pass. Your backend server is going to create the JSON. Well, let the backend engineers deal with the JSON. So they're going to create the JSON, template that. They're going to sign that using their service account. There's more to that. They're going to send that to Google API servers. They're going to retrieve a signed JOT, and you get just that big screen, that big JOT string, pass it to your Android application, and you pass to that method save pass JOT, and you're done. So the password already generated. You just have to show that to your user. Cool. So using this approach, the client only needs to call the backend service to generate the pass and save it with the appropriate methods with the Google Wallet SDK. Here's a sample. Instead of having all of that particular code generated in JSON, I just call get jot pass. And by the way, all of this code is going to be provided later on GitHub. And you generate the pass on the server side, get the string that is returned, and add to your Google Wallet. Another question that we imagine that people would wonder, like Google Wallet and Compose. If you've seen the source code, you see that we're still using the legacy API, still an activity, and we're calling the method on activity result. But the best practice these days is to use Jetpack Compose. So can we use Google Wallet and Jetpack Compose together? And the answer is yes. Well, but it's not a convincing yes. You can use yes. You can be sure that we are working to update the Google Wallet APIs to be able to use Jetpack Compose in the natural way. But in the meantime, you have tons of documentation available for you to be able to use these legacy activities using your Jet Compose in your Android application. So you can use, yes, you can use, maybe not the best possible way for the moment, but very soon we are planning to update the SDK, so we'll be able to use Jetpack Compose in a natural way. Okay. So. Summary, recommended practices when working with the Google Wallet SDK. Use Hilt or Dagger to provide the pay client dependency. If possible, strongly recommend use JOTs. We have the other API because sometimes there is a very specific use case you want to generate the JSON on the client side, but most of the times, please use JOT. You see, well, at least I believe. And disclaimer. I'm a backend developer. I'm a Java developer. And Nick Corder, who is the Android DevRel, he couldn't make it here to London. But I deeply appreciate his effort of putting this content together. I used to be an Android developer, but last time I developed any Android application was like 7, 8 years ago. So yeah, I can see some familiar things. But he is the expert. Okay, so I appreciate Nick here on the record. I appreciate all the effort that you have done to be able to create this presentation for this amazing audience, and for you that is watching here later, not live. So when using JSON, of course, don't create separate classes and objects in your code to abstract that particular information. Don't do like string typed coding. And when using Google Wallet with Compose, leverage the on-activity result workarounds that we have available on the internet. Okay. And this was the technical part. But I have some announcements as well. Because here, today, in droidcon London, we'd like to announce some new features of Google Wallet. The first one is that, remember that I mentioned, well, it's a lot of boilerplate code for you to get started, and that code usually is the same in all of the applications that you're developing with passes. Well, we're announcing the Google Wallet template for Android Studio. So it generates most of the boilerplate code for using wallet passes, works with Kotlin and Java. It's set up for both JSON and JOT interchangeability. And it's going to be available soon in Android Studio, probably in the next release, but don't trust me, okay? Check the updates. I had to make this disclaimer. So the same way that you can go here today and go File, New, and you go to Google here in the bottom. You see, you have Google Pay activity, it's super small, Okay, but trust me, it's written Google Pay activity. In the bottom of that, you have Google Wallet activity. The source code is already there, just waiting for the product manager and engineering team to release that to you. So don't trust my word. The next announcement is the open source pass converter. I know that we as Android developers, sometimes in the same company, we have another team that is working with other platforms and to create those passes. And we know there are different passes formats in the market, at least 3. So we have different companies creating their own passes, which serve kind of the same purpose. Some APIs, they have more features, less features. Some have more information, less information. And we know that it can be super complicated for you as a developer to be mapping. Well, in this particular format, they call it this. In this other format, they call it that. Well, in this format, the information is structured. In the other one, it's just a string. So we made the heavy lifting for you. So we spent months trying to map the information that is available in multiple different kinds of passes formats, and we created a sample project that allows you to learn how that fields are mapped between different types of passes formats. So I have a loyalty card in one format and I have a loyalty card in the other one. How do I map the information that is available on one to the other one? Well, we created this open source pass converter that is available on GitHub, github.com/google-pay/pass-converter. If you go there, you can study the source code. It's Apache licensed. You can take a look at that. You can see how the fields are mapped. If you want to run some examples, as you can see here in the video, that I don't know, I was expecting it to be live playing, but you can get like files from different formats. You can pass that to this web interface, and it's going to convert automatically between one or the other. And actually, I have here, I won't be able to run it now, but this particular pass, because I have a developer account too, I copied this pass from this phone, this other phone, to this Android phone. Okay, so the same pass, I was able to use the two, convert, and add here to Google Wallet. Okay, so please take a look at the project. Well, we know it's not finalized. It's still a learning tool. We're waiting for improvements. And if you try it and find a bug, please create a GitHub issue. We'll be more than happy to take a look at that. And kudos to Steve. Steve, if you're watching the session, thank you for creating this converter project. And last but not least, well, I mentioned to you, well, to be issuing passes, you need to create a temporary issuer account, and it's only valid for 7 days, then you need to reapply, okay? Well, maybe it's not the best possible outcome, because when you're going to production, you have to follow other set of steps. So that's why I'm announcing now, which that is going to be available soon again, the Google Wallet developer mode. With developer mode, you can create your issuer account and start issuing your passes, any kind of passes, with your real credentials at the same moment. So you don't have to create like temporary credentials that you have to change later. You can create your real credentials now, and start that in developer mode. And the new developer mode allows you to also to add the users that are going to be part of your tests. Well, I want to issue passes not only to my account. I also want to issue passes to my family, to my friends, to my colleagues at work. Well, just by adding their Google account emails in the developer mode, they will be able to receive the passes that you're creating too. And for me to be able to show that, I can go here, and if I go to pay.google.com/business-console/home, you'll be, actually, let me try to do this. That's why you know it's a live demo, okay? And let me, okay, back to the screen, yes. So I have here, and by the way, this is not live yet. I have like developer access to this particular API that is going to be available soon. And you can see here, well, I already have an issuer account, but because I want to show you the new way, I'm going to create a new business. And this one is going to be droidcon London developer. Here I'm the UK. Yes, I've read the agreement, like everybody does. And here I am. I already have access to that, and if I want to start issuing passes, I just have to read the documentation, okay? Because you need to create a Google Cloud account, you need to create a Google Cloud project, and enable the wallet API. You won't be billed, you won't be charged for that, but you need that Google Cloud account because we need those credentials to access the wallet API, okay? So it's just for authentication, authorization purposes. So once you create that, you can go here to the Google Wallet API and you can read the documentation or you can build your first pass. And again, of course, you're going to read everything and continue. I'm not encouraging anybody to skip that, just in case the lawyer is watching. So Google Wallet API, what we have here, issuer ID. This string you have to save because you're going to use everywhere. You have to create your passes, the ID of your passes, the ID of your classes, your objects. You need to start with this string. This is your issuer ID. Here I have this green box saying that I already have publishing access. I'm authorized to deliver passes to production because I already have another business that is authorized. But for you as a developer, you won't be able to, initially you won't be able to issue passes in production mode, just test mode, okay? And you can already complete the business profile if you have the information, business identity, business information. So the Google Wallet team can approve your business for production. But in the meantime, it's here. You can already create a class. Okay. Let's try to create a class. I want to create what can we do? Let's create an offer. An offer, I need to create the issuer name. It's going to be droidcon London. The class ID, remember that I mentioned, that's where it gets tricky. Did I copy the number? No, of course not. So if I go back here, I'm going to copy this one, create a class, an offer, droidcon London. The class ID is going to be droid test, and the status draft for now. Here said like multiple holders, one user all devices, one user one device. Geolocation, the logo image URL. Let's try to get any. Droids London, droidcon.com. You can get the image URL. And I think that's all we needed to create a class. And if you go here, oh, by the way, I didn't mention, but all of the fields, they support internationalization. Like by default here, it's going to be English. But if you add multiple languages, depending on the language of that your user has selected on their phone, it's going to pick the right string in the content. And please fill all of them. Offer title, discounts. Offer provider, I don't know. And create class. So yes, class is created. You already have access for your test account and you're good to go. Let's go back here to the dashboard. And here I can manage the users that have access to that. Here, I'm the only one that is authorized to be issuing passes now. But if you wanted to receive passes from my developer account, you just add the email of those people that want to be part of the test, and you'll be good to go. All right. So these were the 3 announcements that I had to make. The wallet template for Developer Studio, the open source pass converter to help you to map the information between different types of passes formats for mobile devices, and the new Google Wallet developer mode. The open source pass converter is live now on GitHub. The other 2 features are about to be released soon. And, well, thank you very much for staying with me until the end. I know it's 5:30 on a Friday evening now, yeah? And so, yes, kudos to you. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thank you.